Okay, so picture this. You manage to score tickets to like the biggest concert of the year. The lights dim, everyone's going crazy, and suddenly, bam, this giant screen just explodes with these insane visuals that are totally in sync with the music. Have you ever like thought about who's the mastermind behind all that crazy light and sound stuff?
They're called media integration operators, and they're kind of the unsung heroes of these live events, making sure all that tech stuff you were talking about goes off without a hitch.
And that's exactly what we're diving into today. This whole world behind the scenes. We've got a ton of info here from RoleCatcher, that career development platform. And let me tell you, this isn't just about like pressing play and rewind. This deep dive is going to show us what a media integration operator actually does. We're talking tech skills, the whole art of collaboration, the work.
Yeah, you'll see it's this really cool mix of like being a tech whiz and having that artistic vision. You're dealing with some pretty complex equipment. Think operation boards, which are basically control panels for all the audio and video signals, and then knowing how all those signals go from the equipment to the stage. But it's not just about knowing the tech inside and out.
It's got to be about knowing how to use all that tech to really bring the energy of a live performance to life, right? So it's kind of like being a conductor. Like, they're not the ones playing every instrument, but they make sure it all sounds amazing together.
Exactly. A media integration operator has to be totally in tune with what the performance is trying to achieve artistically. They're working directly with designers, other operators, even the performers, to make sure the visuals and the sound enhance the show, not distract from it.
Wow, that's a lot of people to keep happy. Must
Yeah.
take some serious communication and collaboration skills.
Oh, absolutely. And that's something RoleCatcher really emphasizes when they break down the media integration operator career path. They've actually divided it up into stages: entry level, junior, experienced, and senior.
Oh, I love a good career path breakdown. It's like getting a sneak peek into the future. So what kind of insider info do we get for each stage?
Well, they don't just tell you what you'd be doing, they actually have these example profiles at each stage. It's almost like you're hearing from someone who's actually doing the job. So, like, imagine starting out assisting those senior operators, getting a feel for the equipment, sort of like an apprenticeship, learning the ropes, soaking up all that knowledge.
Okay, so you're not just thrown to the wolves right away. That makes sense.
Nope, you're gradually building up your skills and confidence. Then, as you move up to that junior operator role, you get to really start flexing your muscles a bit. You're operating systems during rehearsals, collaborating more with the technical crew, maybe even training some newbies. It's where you really start to own your expertise.
And I'm guessing things get even more intense as you become an experienced media integration operator.
For sure, you're the one working on those massive, complex shows, the ones with all the bells and whistles. You're not just operating the tech anymore. You might even be involved in how those systems are designed and improved.
So you're a mentor to the newer folks and maybe even a tech innovator. That's a career path with some serious potential. But let's rewind a bit to those earlier stages when you're just starting out. What kind of skills are we talking about needing? I mean, obviously you need to know your way around technology, but what about those like people skills that everyone seems to need these days?
You're spot on. RoleCatcher actually lists active listening as a top skill for media integration operators. Think about it. You're constantly talking to designers, performers, other operators, each with their own vision and needs.
So it's not just about hearing what they're saying, but actually understanding where they're coming from and turning that into like technical instructions.
Exactly. It's all about bridging that gap between the creative vision and the technical side of things. And that leads us to another super important skill: monitoring.
Monitoring. Okay, so we're not talking about just watching for a red light to start blinking, are we?
Not even close. This is about seeing problems before they even happen, picking up on those subtle hints that something might be off.
Like having a sixth sense for when a microphone is about to die or a video projector is about to overheat.
Yeah, it's all about being proactive, having a sharp eye for detail, and staying cool under pressure, because, as you can imagine, live events can be pretty unpredictable.
And the show must go on. Okay, so we've got active listening, this almost psychic monitoring ability. What about the actual technical know-how? What does RoleCatcher say about that?
Well, they obviously stress how important it is to have a solid foundation in computers and electronics. I mean, that goes without saying, right? But they also emphasize something you might not expect: reading comprehension.
Wait, really? I wouldn't have thought of that as a top skill for a tech-heavy job like this.
You'd be surprised. You're dealing with really complex systems, often under tight deadlines. Being able to quickly understand technical documents, manuals, all those instructions, it's crucial for setting up equipment, troubleshooting issues, and making sure everything runs smoothly.
It's like being a tech detective,
Yeah.
right? Piecing together clues from these documents to solve the mystery of why the soundboard is suddenly freaking out.
Exactly. And that actually brings us to some really helpful job hunting tips that RoleCatcher sprinkles throughout their stuff. I mean, they are a job platform after all, so they've got some insider knowledge to share.
All right, hit me with it. What are some of those golden nuggets of job hunting wisdom?
One of the big things they emphasize is the importance of building a strong portfolio. It's not enough to just say you're good with tech or that you're creative. You need to be able to show potential employers what you can do.
So say someone's just starting out. How do they even begin to build a portfolio in this field?
That's a great question, and it's something we'll dig into a little later. But first, I think it's important to highlight the power of networking. A lot of people don't realize how important that is in this field. Joining those professional organizations, hitting up industry events, those are gold mines for meeting experienced media integration operators. You can pick their brains, maybe even get your foot in the door for a gig. You never know.
So they say it's not always about what you know, it's who you know. But it sounds like in this case, it's a bit of both.
For sure. And speaking of knowing your stuff, I think it's worth going back to those example profiles RoleCatcher gives for each career stage. Really helps you picture what that progression actually looks like.
Yeah, let's paint a picture for our listeners here. Who is this, like, entry-level media integration operator? What are they all about?
Okay, so picture someone who is super dedicated and detail-oriented. Those are key in this line of work. They might be volunteering at local theaters or community centers, getting their hands dirty with smaller productions to get that experience.
So it's all about those early opportunities to connect with people and build a good foundation.
Exactly. Then, as they move up to a junior operator role, they've got some experience under their belt, they're more comfortable with the equipment. Maybe they're even starting to lead small teams, which is where those communication and leadership skills become even more important.
Because at that point, it's not just about you and your own work anymore. It's about guiding and supporting others.
You got it. And RoleCatcher points out how vital it is to be able to troubleshoot those technical problems on the fly at this stage. Think about it. You're working on a live event, pressure's on, and suddenly, boom, the audio cuts out. You gotta think fast, stay calm, and figure out a solution before anyone in the audience even realizes something's wrong.
Talk about a high-pressure situation. Takes a special kind of person to handle that. Okay, so we've got our entry-level newbie soaking it all up, the junior operator finding their groove. What's it look like when you get to that experience level?
That's when you become a real collaborator, working side by side with designers, other operators, even the performers, to make that artistic vision a reality. You're not just following instructions anymore, you're bringing your own ideas and expertise to the table.
So you're a vital part of the creative process, using your tech knowledge to make those artistic ideas happen. I bet that's incredibly rewarding.
Oh, for sure. RoleCatcher even uses the phrase implementing innovative solutions to describe this stage. Like, you're not afraid to push the boundaries a little and try new things.
Love that. You've basically become a master of your craft, and you're using those skills to make the whole production even better.
And that takes us to the top of the mountain, the senior media integration operator.
Okay, now I'm picturing someone who just commands respect the second they walk in the room.
You're not far off. This is someone at the top of their game, a leader, a mentor, known for their expertise and their ability to inspire, leading big teams, mentoring the newer operators, and still always looking for ways to learn and grow.
So they never stop pushing themselves, even after all this time.
Nope. RoleCatcher emphasizes how important it is to be able to identify and implement process improvements at this level. It's not about getting comfortable, it's about constantly looking for ways to innovate and raise the bar for everyone.
Definitely sensing a theme here, that constant drive for excellence, that commitment to always learning and improving.
Absolutely, and that's what makes this field so exciting and rewarding.
Speaking of rewarding, we've talked about the tech skills and those all-important people skills. But RoleCatcher also gets into the specific knowledge base that media integration operators need. And it's not just about knowing how to use the equipment, right?
Right. They highlight how crucial it is to have that broader understanding of engineering and technology. It's not enough to just know how to work the equipment. You need to get the principles behind it, how it all works together.
Kind of like being a tech-savvy chef. You need to get the science behind why certain ingredients create an amazing dish.
Perfect analogy. And just like a chef needs to balance those flavors, a media integration operator has to balance the technical side with the artistic vision of the production.
Which brings us right back to the importance of understanding those artistic concepts.
Exactly. A media integration operator might be working with a lighting designer who wants to create a specific mood on stage, or a video director who's going for a really unique visual effect.
So they need to be able to speak both languages, the technical and the autistic, to make sure those elements work together perfectly.
You got it. It's about finding that sweet spot where technical expertise meets that artistic side.
That is a seriously impressive skill set. It's like they're creating a symphony of technology and art, which is pretty cool when you think about it. But it's interesting. A lot of what we've been talking about applies to stuff beyond just live events, too.
Totally. Think about all the ways we rely on technology these days to communicate, tell stories, create experiences in everyday life.
Social media, online gaming, even those VR experiences that are becoming more and more popular, it's all about combining those tech skills with a creative vision.
And that's why I think this depth dive has been so insightful. We haven't just explored this one career path, but we've also uncovered these universal truths about human ingenuity and collaboration.
And the fact that RoleCatcher gives away so much of this information for free is fantastic.
No, I know, right? They really want to empower people to go after their dream careers, which is awesome.
Totally. But before we wrap up this episode, let's circle back to that provocative thought from earlier. That whole thing about tech fails during live events.
Oh, yeah, because what's more entertaining than watching a perfectly planned performance go hilariously wrong?
Well, maybe not for the media integration operator who has to fix it. But for the rest of us, those moments are unforgettable. They give us a peek behind the curtain at how complicated these productions really are.
And you know what's interesting? Those tech fails often make us appreciate the human element even more. When something goes wrong, it's that quick thinking, that problem solving, that ability to adapt and improvise that saves the day.
It's like when those performers have to break character for a second, and you remember that there are real people behind those larger-than-life personas.
Exactly. And I think that's a perfect note to end on, remembering that even in this age of incredible technology, it's still that human connection, the ability to laugh at ourselves and roll with the punches, that makes life interesting.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So there you have it. A deep dive into the world of the media integration operator, a career that's both technically challenging and creatively fulfilling.
And a huge thank you to RoleCatcher for providing all this incredible information on this fascinating role.
We've covered a ton today, but as always, we encourage you to keep exploring, keep learning, and keep asking those what-if questions.
Because you never know where those questions might lead you. Until next time, keep diving deep. It's funny how those behind-the-scenes moments, they actually show us how human a performance really is.
Yeah, for sure. We usually only see the polished final product, but there's something really cool about those unscripted moments when things go a little off track.
Speaking of cool, remember we were going to talk about how someone just starting out in this field can build a portfolio. It's kind of tough, right? You need experience to get hired, but how do you get experience without a portfolio to show off what you can do?
Yeah, it's a total catch-22. But the good news is there are ways around it. One thing RoleCatcher suggests is getting involved with smaller productions. Think like community theater groups, student films, maybe a local band that needs help with their sound setup for a gig, stuff like that.
So it's about finding those chances to volunteer your time, get some real-world experience.
Exactly. And while you're at it, document everything. Take pictures, shoot videos, even just jot down notes about the problems you ran into and how you solved them.
Yeah, like a scrapbook of your journey as a media integration operator.
Right.
That's a really cool way to show potential employers you're passionate and dedicated.
For sure. And remember those professional organizations we talked about. Joining those can lead to some great networking opportunities, maybe even some mentorship programs.
So it's about surrounding yourself with people who get it, who can offer guidance and support.
Exactly. Like they say, it takes a village, or in this case, a network of tech-savvy, creative people to help you succeed in this field.
This deep dive has been a real eye-opener. I feel like we've just scratched the surface of what it takes to be a media integration operator.
We've definitely covered a lot, the different skills, how your career can progress, those essential soft skills, and we even touched on how important a good portfolio and a strong professional network are.
Plus, let's not forget those provocative thoughts. Those moments when technology decides to throw a wrench in the works, and those behind-the-scenes heroes have to scoop in and save the day.
It's a great reminder that even in a field that's all about innovation and technical know-how, it's often that human element, that ability to adapt, solve problems, and think outside the box under pressure that really makes the difference.
Absolutely. So to all our listeners out there, whether you're thinking about a career in media integration or you're just interested in the magic behind the curtain, remember this. Every live event, every perfectly timed sound cue, every dazzling light display, it all comes down to a team of skilled people working together to create something amazing.
And who knows, maybe someone listening right now will be inspired to join them and shape the future of this incredible field.
And if you do decide to go for it, remember, RoleCatcher has a ton of resources, and it's free. Check them out. You won't regret it.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and never lose that sense of wonder.
This is The Deep Dive, signing off for now.